in like 2018. You know, the first boas and stuff that I produced were back in like 2007. So pretty good while. Just, you know, kind of made the transition to ball pythons, you know, beginning in like 2018. So
was it hard to transition from the boas to the ball pythons?
Not animal wise. Like I've had ball pythons like previously. Like I picked up a pair of like het albinos from this guy like Rising Sun Reptiles out in San Diego back in like 2002, and they were like $1,200 for the pair of like just regular het albinos and stuff. And it's like I had those for a while, but once they kind of got to that point where they were like eating rats, it's like the thing that held me back for the longest time was feeding live rats. I've mentioned it in several podcasts before. I mean, rats are just cute. They're adorable. They're like tiny little dogs. They're little buddies. So it's like I can't send them upriver like that, you know.
I have a hard time with that.
See, and that's why I feed like all the collection animals and stuff like ASF. I look at them as kind of like a mouse, even though they're still, you know, like a rat, you know. But I look at them more as like a mouse, and you know, I don't feel as guilty. They're definitely just as cute. You know, like the ASFs that I have, they're all super, super friendly. Like I don't have any issues with them. And, you know, I also do get frozen thawed rats for the other snakes and stuff that I keep. So I still offer like several ball pythons frozen thawed every week just to see if they'll take them. And most of the time they do.
Right.
It's just, you know, for sake of time and everything else, it's kind of faster just to feed the live, just because you pop them in the tub, close the tub, I flip my magnet over, and then, you know, I'd come back and check in like 30 minutes to an hour or so and, you know, see if the job's been done.
Right. Do you use color-coded magnets that tell you whether they're in there or not?
Well, I got like red on one side and green on the other.
Oh, wow.
You know? Okay. So the feeding part was the biggest holdup on the ball pythons, because every other snake that I've ever kept is pretty much very easily went to frozen thawed without like a problem. So, you know, doing the live thing was, you know, it's like everybody's got to eat, you know, it's like I'm no vegetarian myself, but the argument of like feeling bad for the animals is, you know, one of the most understandable ones I can have. So that was the holdup, but man, like I feel like overall just my collection like quality is increased, my like infrastructure is increased, like all that stuff is increased since I got into the ball pythons, like more so than where I was at with like the boas and stuff. So
right, I see some 70-30s back there. Are you running a lot of 30s or?
That's my one rack of 70-30s. I got that when I had a lot more boas.
Gotcha.
But even then, you know, it's like I got like my first like big ball pythons I bought were in 2019 from Brock. Like I got some sunset and het sunset stuff, and I got those things at like 150, 200 grams and threw them into a CB70, and they did just fine.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I mean they were just hanging out, just no problems with eating or anything. I mean they actually the only one that ever went off food was a vanilla het sunset that ended up being a male. I got it as a female. It ended up being a male. Brock took care of it. He sent me another female to replace that. And that one went off food, I think, because it wanted to breed. But all the other ones, they never stopped eating in there. So I just never had a problem with it. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I keep saying he's like not into sunset, but I keep saying he's into sunset. Yeah, that's the one, you know, gene that I guess we really do.
Well, that's a lot of genes.
Well, there's a lot of genes, but that's the one.
Well, there's too many genes is what there is.
Yeah, there's too many genes, but that's the one that, like, when I'm scrolling Instagram, when I'm going through YouTube, when I see it, it's like that's the one out of all the ones that I see that we just don't have consistently. I see it coming through the feed.
Yeah, and that, I mean, at this point for us, I'm sure it's the same way for you. It's like, all right, cool. We make a move on sunset, we're going to have a game plan, and it's not just go buy one and kind of, you know, sit on it. I would like to go into it with a plan and attack it in the sense of, what's up, Derek?
What's up?
Yeah. attack it in the sense of the same thing I tell Darren. Every badass male you get, you need, 4 or 5 females. A lot of them, when you're buying these snakes, they're gonna cost money. $2,000-$3,000 a female. You got to make sure that you have things either in the racks already, or you're bringing them in to grow them out for those programs.
Yeah. Well, first off, hello, Darren. Pleasant of you to join us. But aside from that, though, with the sunset thing, though, man, it's like when I got mine. I mean, I got my male and I got some het females. It's like the other animals within the collection, like I picked up and I still have like all of them, a bunch of like single gene, girls.
Right.
Like I got like ultra male girls and hypo girls and like all that stuff. And it's like I definitely, I think, see value in like building out like my own projects for stuff, because then you get it exactly the way that you want to like make it and have it.
Right.
So it's like, you could, someone very easily right now could go pick up a sunset male, have like very like basic or like just foundational type girls, and bring them up, breed their own things. And then what's going to, like, the way that I think is the most beneficial way to do it is to produce those girls and then purchase a male elsewhere with like the incomplete dominance or whatever that you want. Because at the end of the day, those males, like, even if they have like the better genetics in them, they're still going to be a fairly good value in comparison to a female of that same whatever. And if you like seed your collection with your own girls, you can just go out and pick up males, for those girls.
Right.
So,
no, that definitely makes sense. Do you think in those programs, after you have that male, you breed them to your females, however many are 2, 3. You produce your female holdbacks. At some point, 2, 3, 4 seasons, it's probably time to start at least searching for that next combo male in that program.
I mean, I used my sunset male from Brock for, well, one, because I kept boas. Like, I mean, I didn't even produce with them until 21.
Oh, wow.
And then I produced last year with my female hets. So it's like, I'm just an idiot and raised him up for like 4 years like a boa. You know what I mean? But it's like, my first clutch that I got from him was semi-accident. I've explained it before, but put him in there, didn't see any interest, pulled him out, whatever, kept feeding the female. And then one day I was doing water changes and I found her on eggs.
Oh, wow.
So then I, incubated them, and I ended up getting like 3.2 like double het sunset albinos. So that was my first like ball python clutch. And I, kept the girls. One of them went to a buddy a while back, and then I still have the regular double het sunset albino female that I just use as a het sunset. And I probably won't get rid of her, but I used my male again this last season in 22 to produce stuff. And that was his first like main actual season. And I'm not using him this year. Like, I picked up a vanilla sunset hypo from Brock, but I'm also not going to get rid of him. Like, like he's, I'm kind of like sentimental, I guess. Like, he's done a lot of good stuff for me. And like, what am I going to get for him anyway as like a proven breeder male now, versus just holding on to him and just enjoying him and just having him hang out here. And if he ever needs to be thrown in for something, then he could, be thrown in. But, for stuff like that, you're not getting those males for a long term. At least for me, I'm not getting those males for a long-term use. I'm getting them to make the stuff that I want to make and need to make for that season. And then after that, I don't necessarily need them. Sometimes it's just laziness to sell them or post them or do whatever.
Right.
Because I've got like a leopard clown het pied male that I don't need anymore. And I've just been slacking on posting him up, but he produced some beautiful babies for me. But he's not one that I'm going to keep around for like sentimental reasons, but he is a good animal. And it's just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I would still want someone that would appreciate him and not just, whatever,
Right. How many I guess breeder size animals are you at right now?
I'm not sure. It's So I have a 70-30, and then I have 3 55-40s.
Okay.
So that's what I have for like my like ball python, like adult, sub-adults, whatever. But there's several in those that are like blood pythons. There's several in those that are like, again, 300-gram snakes in a 55-40. You know, like I have like like probably like a 600-gram girl and like one of the 70-30s back here. It's just, you know, that I don't really have issues with things going off food, so it doesn't really matter what size they're in. But I want to say like, I don't know, what is it? Yeah, it's like it's hard to like even guess, because I probably only have like I probably have like less than 20 males, and the rest of everything else is like females, as far as like in those like adult, sub-adult enclosures.
Right.
So, but I also don't plan on breeding like all those girls this year either. Like several of them are just ones that I still need to like move out and whatever, and I'm sending a couple to a friend of mine this week, just so he can have some girls to potentially do something with that are proven. And yeah, I don't really want to produce a wild or insane amount. Like we did 18 clutches that first year. We did 18-ish clutches last year. It's kind of skewed because I had 2 clutches that hatched like January. Like one clutch hatched January, one clutch hatched February. So it's like I've already technically had 2 clutches for the season, and they were both like from breedings from last year. So they like don't count but still count, kind of.
Makes sense. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Main Squeeze Reptiles. The line of tri-stripe that we got into is from Bloodline. What's his name? Chris. But it's Bloodline, I believe, Reptiles. He's been doing this for probably close to 15 years. So
When we got him, which was like probably 2 years ago, right?
yeah, it's been 2 years now.
2
years now.
That was in reference to the question up there. We had a question that they asked if sunset was polarizing morph out there, and this is the response to that. Thank you.
Yeah, Steven answers that way nicer than I do, because it irks me, like, you know, to a level for sure.
Oh man.
And you know, to Mark's question though, it's like I wouldn't say sunset's the most polarizing. I would think people like just throw shade at pastel all the time for no reason. You know.
That's Liv.
Always great numbers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, y'all get in trouble about that all the time. But
yeah, she's always up.
Here's the problem though with pastel. It's not a pastel problem.
Right.
It's a pastel and clown problem.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to put clown into everything.
Right.
You know, like you just don't.
That's true.
And so it's like, you know, you're like, oh, like everything is gauged with this like lens of how does it work in clown.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's just such a narrow like mindset for stuff, you know, and it just, I don't know, that stuff irks me too, because again, like I said, not everything has to work well in clown. Not everything has to be a damn clown. There's
when you started, was it
cool stuff out there?
When you started, wasn't it before? It wasn't clown, because everybody wasn't chasing clown. It was Mojave. What it did with Mojave, if it made Mojave make a change, then it was kind of considered a gene.
Well, I don't recall that. The crazy thing is, throughout all of my boa keeping time and everything, I was still like, I was part of like the RDR forums, like the Ralph Davis Reptile forums. And there was a lot of guys on there, and it's like I was the token ball python, or I was the token boa guy, and like everybody else was, you know, deep into ball pythons, you know. And it's like, so I was around for like when Morph Kings was like blowing out like Mojaves for like a wildly stupid amount. Like I've said the little story before, but like yellow bellies is like my like biggest like fumble in ball pythons.
Really?
I got offered a pair of yellow bellies for $1,000 in like 2000 and I don't know, 1 or 2 or something. Wow. And that was before they were proven to be het for ivory, basically.
Right.
Like that was before they were determined to produce ivories. And I got offered those because I was talking to a dude who was going down to Daytona, and I wanted an albino boa. And I told him I had like 1,200, and he was like, he came back and he's like, man, there were no albino boas there, but I got these yellow belly ball pythons you could get for the same price. And he sent me pictures. I was like, those don't look like anything. And then like a very short while later, it was definitely proven that they were something.
Man.
So it's like, who knows what could have happened there. But to get back on the sunset train, it's like a lot of people compare, like there's definitely different levels to everything. They're like, if I pulled out a sunset right now, it might not look good just because the white balance is kind of weird. I mean, you never know, but I mean, like, and it, like my adult sunsets look fairly different. Like my vanilla is more orange. My other one's like more cream. Let me figure out where Home Dude's living, and hopefully he's not in shed. He looks decent, but it's a matter of like how well it'll pick him up. But like, figure out what way it goes here. But it's like, that like it's more of like a carrot kind of orange. Like that still picks it up like a little poorly, but I mean, he's a cool looking snake. And, I don't know. And people judge sunset, which has been around a bit, but not like an excessive amount of stuff has been done with it. And they compare it to like a clown that's like $15,000 because it has like 6 incomplete dominant genes in it.
Right.
And I will like, die on the hill of some of these like clowns that people are praising. They look like actual, like they don't look good as adults. I'm not going to be too aggressive about it.
Right.
But they don't look that
but
good.
as babies, they look good. And then as adults, they don't look good.
No, they look, I will send you some things because I've seen some very direct comparisons of showing like the baby and then they show the adult.
Right.
And doesn't look good. But that's personal preference, and I'm not trying to like piss on people's parades here. But the darker clown stuff ages way nicer, and it looks way nicer, and I think it holds better contrast. The lighter clown stuff just sinks, in my opinion.
I do like the darker clown stuff more so.
I like the dark jeans in general.
You do. I know.
For the most part, she likes the bright jeans.
Yeah, like what's the one that I love so much? It's OTB Reptiles and that.
Mimic.
Oh, the mimic thing.
Yeah, I think that's
really
cool.
Interesting as it progresses along.
Yeah, I noticed that like a while back.
Yeah, when he first
posted it, like what, last year, I guess. Was it last year?
Probably the year before.
The year before, I don't know. My concept's terrible. But,
that thing looks cool, but it's like, who knows how it'll work out, right? Whenever you put it with something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll, maybe like at one stage it looks good, another stage not so much. It's like then you have you have to wait like 3 years for like a disappointment.
Right.
It's like damn.
Yeah, if it goes the wrong direction, like
if it goes the wrong direction and doesn't shake out, like like man, like even like I've mentioned it before, but one of my little hidden, not hidden projects, but one that it's like I'm gonna work on some stuff like in the future and work on into doing some really unique stuff with is rainbow. But rainbow looks a lot like banana, and it stays the same color as it gets older. It doesn't change. Like it stays like a purple and cream and like all those colors, so it's like you could easily look at stuff that's done in banana and how that looks as like a baby and be like, okay, well that's how the rainbow version is going to look as an adult. Like it's going to be awesome
without the spots, basically.
Without the spots, without the fading. Like you're going to keep that contrast. Like that what was it, the Wookiee like red stripe, yellow belly clown something banana that Justin made that like was in like his top whatever last year for like right there next to that DG Exanthic clown. Like that animal looks like phenomenal, like the rich oranges and like creams and stuff. Like it's a cool look. So mixing that dark stuff in with like the banana is also going to be like a good way to keep things I guess fresh for that project specifically.
Yeah, it keeps like a real orange color.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Good old Limey. I guess he responded to like the dark stuff. Limey.
Dang.
Calamity is hilarious.
Go back to that other
Now she
comment
just-
that you just put up. Sunset is a rich and elegant base to work from. I feel that way about NR Mandarin too. Like Chapati with
Yes.
Mandarin. I feel like it's that rich
Mandarin is.
base.
This the issue I have because we have Mandarin as well.
See, I like disagree on that one personally, but that's just me.
The issue I think with Mandarin, in my opinion,
I don't
we
think
don't
it's
have
all
a ton
created
of
equal
it.
either.
Well, it's not created equal, and then unfortunately, with anything you do, you're gonna have untrustworthy people, and you're gonna have some slid in there that's just OD, maybe a bad example of OD, and try to slide it in there under the Mandarin name in order to tax people for it. Hopefully, genetic testing to help with some of that stuff, but I mean, I think you're gonna have a little bit of that everywhere you go.
But see, that in itself is like the biggest problem that I see with it, though, right? Is like you almost need genetic testing just to tell you what your eyes should tell you.
Right.
That's
So
why
it's
I
like
think
that,
that
and especially for the value. Now, if you were talking like a couple $100 more,
Right.
then it's like, whatever, it's like it enhances it, you get a little extra something. But for thousands of dollars more,
Right.
I got better things I'd rather buy.
Right.
Like for me, like personally, like, and some of those the ones that look the best are the ones that have hypo in it.
Yeah.
So
Hypo
how
Mandarin
much
was it?
Yeah, so how much like heavy lifting is hypo doing?
Right.
In reality, it's like black pastel hypos look stupid too. Those are beautiful snakes.
Yeah.
So it's
Once I
like-
seen Super Mandarin Hypo, I was like, wow.
But the problem is too, is just to go back with what you said, not all of them are created equal, right? Like,
exactly.
like the ones that he, shot videos of down at Justin's place, those ones look real nice. The ones that TJ shows look real nice.
Right.
But some of these other ones that you see, it's like, you're back there squinting, trying to see it sometimes.
Right.
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to pay that much money to have to justify it.
And not just that, you pay that money and just to find out that, hey, that's not even the gene.
Oh well, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other thing, right? Like all that,
I've even
all
seen
them Florida problems that circulated through that gene, and that that might not even, like, I don't know the dude, but that might not have even been ill will. That could have just been him understanding like what he like. He's like, damn, like I thought this was this, and turns out he friggin' produces a bunch of them and sells them, and then now he's like up a creek without a paddle with a bunch of people pissed
Right.
off.
And that's the tough part too, because it's like, okay, you sold it for, I think you were still compensated for the extra gene. Thank you
guys.
too.
Thank
you very much.
Super nice of you.
He's definitely compensated when you get up there in price to find out, oh, okay, this was also hypo, visual hypo. But that being said, it's like, how do you move forward from that point as the buyer now making a project if you aren't, Justin or one of the bigger names? I like where
totally.
that's at, it's really, really hard to gauge where you want to be, as far as with these genes and
Trying to
combinations.
grab my phone charger that has left me.
With these combinations, because it's really, really uncharted with the market we're in, the influx of people getting into the hobby and getting into the deep end, getting serious with it and trying to learn and educate themselves along the way. And when you look
Totally.
happen, you're like, okay, well, if I'm into this, what am I doing with it? We made a video actually about new genes. And it's just like our little spin on things. It's so many different ways to look at it, but there being stages in new genes, stage 1 versus stage 2. I'm sure you can break it down even deeper than that. But whether something pops up in your collection, you're breeding it and you're working with it, and you come to find out that's genetic. Now you're not, I think a lot of newer breeders like us, they think, okay, well, I'm gonna keep a couple of them and sell a few. It don't work that way. You got to hold that stuff, see what you're gonna breed it to, how it reacts. Make sure you have the infrastructure in place to be able to facilitate that, versus a stage 2 gene, something where, okay, they may have bought it for $25, $100 in the import, whatever it may be, but now they did all of that 4, 5, 6 years, 10 years, and now us as buyers are wondering why it's $5,000 now, because we know what it does in ultra male, we know what it does in clown, know what it does in pod. So
you got to put in that hard work.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
That's the deal with Sunset Leviathan had asked earlier, you know, to kind of give our take on why I like Sunset, why he's kind of so on it or whatnot. And I don't think it's necessarily that I just love Sunset. I think it's more that I think there's a lot of potential there. So it's like I love the potential of things. I am funny because I like all the cheap stuff.
Yeah.
I like the visually pleasing, like, oh, that's a pretty snake type thing. But on the flip side, like, it's also fun. Like, we've been doing the Gene Chaser series, and it's gotten me more, I guess, wanting to know about genes versus just, oh, it's a pretty snake.
Right.
So in my mind, like, when I start seeing Sunset run through my feeds, when I see breeders working with it, I feel like that is another gene that I would like to see. Right. Like that's another gene that I would like to bring into our program. So that's mine.
And I think she's finally adjusted to, you know, since we've purchased so many doggone snakes, but every time you're on Morph Market, you're not necessarily buying. A lot of the time you're doing the research, you're trying to see what people are putting out there, what people are creating. A lot of time I'm asking myself, like, man, if this person's releasing this, I can only imagine the holdbacks, you know, but everybody don't have the same mindset. Some people are selling their best creations. Shout out to Tim. We always talking with Tim about doing that and not making those mistakes again.
Well, I mean, after your little thing with him the other week, I mean, I messaged him and I was just, you know, chatting it up with him, and I was like, yeah, man, like that one girl I got from you, like you shouldn't have let her go.
I told that.
You know, it's a nice animal. It's a beautiful girl. Like, I mean, it's, you know.
What'd you pick up?
We ended up doing like a trade deal for a couple of animals. He got like a rodent rack and then like a couple other things that I got. And I got his high OD hypopide female.
Oh. high OD pie female?
High OD hypopide.
Oh yeah. No, that one no.
So she was like fluorescent orange as she's gotten older. Like when she was like a baby. She looks more like frosted right now. So it's like I like her look. Like it's really nice. Like, I mean, I have several hypopides because I really enjoy hypopides. And you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, they're all beautiful, man. They all have like a different look. It's like, you know, hypopides are more orange and hypoclowns are more of like a steel blue kind of color.
Right.
So it's really kind of interesting, the you know, the variation there. And I seen that comment pop up a little bit about the Sunset Monarch. Like I have both. Like I have Sunset, or I have Sunsets obviously, but I have both Monarch and Ultramel.
That's what I was thinking. Ultramel.
And I do really like the way that the Ultramel Sunset looks, especially as it's gotten older. Like it's a really cool looking adult.
Right.
I would assume that the Monarch Sunset is probably going to look better.
You think so?
Because you're allotted more contrast, you know, and it's like, and I'm, you know, still gonna go forward with like both projects. You know, it's like I'm so like vested both genetically and everything else within Ultramel stuff that it's like there's no chance that I'm ever getting rid of that. And It's also like such a different color palette from Monarch. Like it's almost interesting that they get like, you know, compared to each other, you know, because Ultramel is like so light and so like creamy and vibrant, and Monarch is like much darker and like richer tones.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Right
now, what do you think about the comparison from the Monarch Pied and the Ultramel Pied?
I mean, I think the Ultramel Pieds look better, like than the Monarch Pied does, but that's just personal preference, you know. Like I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 Ultramel Pieds. How many do I have? I don't know. I've got several Ultramel Pieds. Like I've got like two boys that I have for sale, and then I have 4 females that I'm like bringing up, and then I have my breeder male that I'm using this year. So it's like I've got several Ultramel Pieds, and they all look phenomenal as they've gotten older. Like they all look really, really nice.
Yeah.
The Monarch pieds are darker, so it doesn't. I don't know, like the few that I've seen, like there, and it might have just been like a bad example because I think I've literally only seen one, but it looked like almost normal. It was like so dark.
Mm,
So it was kind of weird, and again, it
yeah.
could have been a bad picture because tons of people post terrible photos,
Oh, yeah, we're
so
gonna get to that too.
yeah, so it could have very well been that. Now, the Monarch clowns that have been shown, those look really nice, but for Monarch and Ultramel clowns, they kind of look the same.
Mhm.
Like whenever Maddox, he showed that spot nose Monarch clown that he produced, and that one was actually like really dark and it had a really nice look to it. But for a lot of these genes, it's really going to be like, well, this looks better in Ultramel, this one looks better in Monarch. At the end of the day, if they were the same price, people probably wouldn't be as up in arms about that.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time when more and more are produced that the values are going to come down.
Right.
So,
right. And speaking of, let me see if my skills have increased on it.
The Monarch spot nose clown was crazy to me. I like that combo.
oh yeah, it looked really nice. And I don't have a lot of Monarch stuff, but like I have a male pastel fire Monarch het pied that I got from Troy.
Mhm.
And then I got a female Monarch. I can't remember the dude, some dude out in Arizona. And it's like I tried breeding my Sunset to her last year. She didn't end up going. I'm hoping this year I can do the same thing. So I'm gonna try and put my Sunset male with her, and make some double hets for down the road with those, because I just want to see it.
Now,
And
when
I
it
think
comes
it'll
to
look really good.
your content, brother, it's like amazing. I'm constantly shouting you out about some of the content and things that you're putting out there, man. And just the camera views, the focus, focal points, the steadiness, the consistency on Instagram, how you're putting it out. Like, what camera equipment are you using? Like, it's phenomenal, man.
I asked him. I hit him up on that.
You're saying all that, and you didn't even like that one you pulled up.
Oh, look, wait, that's because I'm on the computer.
I know, I'm messing with you.
I'm not even signed in, I don't think.
I like them all. We have flawless crested geckos and flawless exotic creation.
Right.
So with a double liking.
So
there you go.
So I use an actual like camera. So I use like Sony cameras for all my stuff. And I found the best way is to honestly just set the camera up on a tripod, move the snake to the tripod.
Okay.
Or, to the camera on there. And the same goes for like doing like photos and stuff too. Like if you just have like a designated spot of like, this is like where you're taking the.
Gotcha. All right. And it's all caught up on that side.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But the actual model of the camera, what is the one that you're utilizing?
We lost sound.
We lost sound.
Did
I?
Yeah. There you go.
No, I think he muted on his side.
Did it?
Yeah, once the headphones disconnect, it automatically mutes it.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good now.
That's why I only use like one headphone at a time, because like I'll listen to stuff while I clean, and then whenever one dies, then I got the other one. But so for that one, I was using the ZVE 10. So that's the Sony ZVE 10. So that's the one I was using for that. Like I use an A7 II for my photos most of the time. And lately I've been using my newer camera, which is an FX30, and it's more of a video camera than it is like a photo camera. Like I can't use a flash or anything with it, but I can use like ambient lighting. Mm-hmm. So, you have to, it's like there's pluses and minuses to it, but that's what I'm using for all my videos now is the Sony FX30, and the photos are either with that or my Sony A7 II. So
when it comes to ease of use, because actually Darren's in the market for a camera right now. I sent him a bunch of my stuff that we use a little bit of Sony. We're actually doing this live on a Sony. But we also, I'm big on Canon. I love Canon. So I sent him a few of my inexpensive Canon pics. what would you suggest for someone that's getting into it? Do you just think they should just jump on one of those, or is it a different one you would recommend?
I really liked the ZVE10.
CBD10.
Yeah. And so part of that is because one, it's not super expensive. Like you get in what you put out, and that's with everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the camera itself is like $600, $700 maybe. And then I think the lens was, I don't know, it might have been up to $500, but it might have been like 300 or 400. But the lens that I use is the same one, and it's a 28 to 50 Sigma 2.8 lens.
Now,
The big thing is doing stuff in manual and actually learning how to use the camera. You
yes,
know, like putting it in auto and hoping for the best is, you know, like you're gonna like that's the problem with cell phones, right? Like, so cell phones, they're gonna automatically like guess white balance. They're gonna do all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where I have it. It's probably over there, but I have like a gray white balance card. So it's like you get like a gray, a white, and a black. So whenever I take photos, I take that card and I put it where I'm taking the photos, and I use that to get the white balance for the pictures. You know, like I use that to get the white balance for my videos. Like I use that to get a correct white balance of all of the stuff that I do. You know, and then I also edit it all on my computer, not on my phone. Like it's, you know, it's unfortunately it's a process. And sometimes that's very draining, which is why I have not put out like a YouTube video in a while, which, you know, I know Tim put out one today. I haven't seen it. I seen his post talking about putting it out. And it's like I have like a gang of videos that I have like in my mind of stuff to record, and I just haven't done them yet, you know. And it's just like, I don't know, like I want to, but then I also like don't want to, because, you know, like I know you guys talk to Levance, and it's like, you know, part of some of this stuff to a degree, like, you know, and I agree with Steven on a lot of things, but, you know, he talks about like always giving like value, and it's like you should be giving value. I agree. But also, I'm not trying to give away the farm and be like, well, this is my, you know, this is my whole list of stuff that I plan on working. And this is my end goal to make the whatever. And now all of a sudden someone's like, you know what? That dude's got a hell of an idea. Let me do that. Like, you bastard. You know, it's like, you gotta, you know, it's, you gotta, I don't know. Some things you have to kind of keep to yourself, and other things you like should kind of like put the information out there. But, you know, because a buddy, he works with like this dude who does like a lot of real estate stuff, and he puts out like all this real estate information out there, and it's like you could spoon feed, burp, and, you know, bottle, you know, spoon feed, bottle feed, and burp some of these people, and they're not going to take in the smallest amount of information that you give them.
Right.
You know, so it's like, is it really like a threat? But it's like, you know, some people might be in a better position where they can go out and get the whatever that has like extra genes or whatever, you know. It's like I'm not making monarch pieds for the foreseeable, like not foreseeable future, but for a while.
Right.
Like I got a male that I'll take to maybe some pied girls this year, some other stuff, and then raise those up. And then it's like 5 years before I'll probably see like a monarch pied, you know. But whenever I eventually make one, it'll be a monarch pied with other stuff.
Other stuff in it.
You know, so it's like, you know, everything is just kind of a waiting game, but it's the whole idea of, you know, giving away all that information. And it's like, that's part of the downfall, or not downfall, of why I haven't put out like a bunch of YouTube videos. It's the time that it takes, or I haven't put them out recently. It's the time that it takes. And I don't want everything to be just like, I don't know, like informational, because it's like, I don't want to start arguments with people that think that like their way is the right way and this and that. And it's like, dude, like this is the way that I'm thinking about doing stuff. This is like my like whatever advice, something. And it's like, I'm not trying to just have people coming out of the woodwork to just be negative for no reason.
It's kind of for us, I just popped into my head when you were talking, but for us, like, you know, we have a Patreon on the Crested Gecko side, and a lot of it is, to me, for us, we, like Leviathan said in the chat, you know, we do want everyone to succeed. We feel like there's room.
Everybody needs to succeed at the end of the day. That's the problem in some of these other species, I think.
But the
Is
thing that I think mostly encourages us is the fact that not we are who we are.
Mhm.
You are who you are, Darren, Leviathan. Everybody has their own flavor. There is what we call black print to being successful in business, but then you have to put your own flavor on it. If you go step 1, 2, 3, 4, follow all the steps, but you don't have your own thought processes, your own like authentic way of doing things, it shows. So it's kind of
well, if
hard
you don't
to,
have creativity, yeah.
yeah, exactly. You've just really got to reach inside of yourself, take what these successful stories are telling you to do, the stuff that's just normal, that kind of is like textbook style stuff, and then put your flavor, your thought process.
People are also always so judgmental that they get things get lost in translation. Whether it's my delivery or anyone's delivery, things get lost. So that's why we're like a broken record every time. Even when we do some of the simple videos, being beginners in it, it's like we're always going to tell you, hey, this disclaimer, this is just what we do. We're not saying this is the way, this is a way.
Yes.
And you're almost to a certain extent attacking the individual that is looking for you to make a mistake. Oh, he said X, Y, and Z. It's not that way. Wait, well, I can't really say that. He already just said that. He just given an example. And it sucks. You have to be like that. But I mean, I just think that's the world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, totally. And it comes down to ego. And it's like everybody thinks that like they're, like, and again, it could even circle back to like the sunset stuff. It's like a personal attack. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't like your thing. It's like, people that love cilantro, and then other people it tastes like soap, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if you love cilantro,
I love it.
you're gonna die on that hill of loving cilantro.
People
come at you for being nasty for liking cilantro. Yeah, it's just there's gonna be a fight. You're like, dude, like that is like it adds so much. It's just it's different for sure. But just to go back on what you said though, it's like everybody does need to succeed. That I think is one of the things that keeps like ball pythons probably doing as well as they do.
Right.
Because people will be successful if they keep at it and they keep doing the things to like to nurture that success. There's almost no way to like fail with doing it. And it's just that's pretty much all it is.
It's also like your collection. I don't know everything in your collection, but it's like the creativity process. You don't necessarily have 40 ultra male pod females, just the double visuals and gonna run with that. I think stop getting creative at a certain point. It's just like the ivories. It's nothing. The ivory's a beautiful snake, but if you're breeding, umpteen years ago for that, and you see that that's hot commodity in the market, you have to understand that when other people are able to produce it as easily as you are, that you may need to either have another avenue to take it further or tone it down a bit, because at some point you're going to produce a gazillion of them and you're going to keep them.
I mean, you're going too far back. You don't even need to go that far back. You could look into last year and all those DG clowns out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's another like, I get into some, I wouldn't say heated, but like I definitely make my comments and they're taken probably not great,
right?
Because they're, people that are vested into that project. But dude, like 3 years ago, it's like I had friends that were talking about getting into that stuff. And I'm like, dude, those are going to fall like nobody's business because everybody's propping it up. Everybody's, riding on the coattails of DG's the greatest thing. And I don't mind DG. Like it's nice. It enhances stuff. It makes things like, it gives it like an extra oomph.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I didn't, like I got stuff for like DG Pied stuff and I missed my DG Pieds last year. And, that sucked because like, shoot, man, like I got like a double het female from Miguel that I paid like $1,200 for. I got a leopard DG het pied male that I got from, Patrick before he went into Chimera.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I paid like $2,500 for him. A DG het pied male now is like $500.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, shoot, like DG Pieds for some reason got lumped into the DG Clown situation, and their prices dropped down into like you know, I wouldn't be surprised if by October those
But
things are like $1,000,
Right.
like DG Pieds and DG Clowns. And that's unfortunate,
visuals.
you know, but shit, man, like everybody was like, oh, DG Clown, DG Clown. So it's like everybody went out and bought that shit.
Well,
And
do you
then,
think
you know,
before
friggin' 2 years later, there's 50 of them for sale. I wonder
Right.
you
why.
think before COVID that they were going to probably drop anyways? What they were at, you know, before COVID,
Mm.
I don't
because
know, I
they
can't
started off
remember
at like
timelines and
$3,000 and
whatever.
they went up
I
to
just
10 to 15.
remember, yeah, as soon as like Justin started doing videos on how great the DGs were, and
Mhm.
everybody's pants started getting a little bit tighter looking at them, I
Right.
was like, it's just going to be a matter of time before everybody is just producing that. They're not adding extra stuff to it, and then they're going to wonder why, you know, you're going to be sitting on like that stuff. Like
Mhm.
that's almost the precipice of the entire YouTube video that I was intending on recording this week, so that way whenever I finish these, people could look me up and be like, oh, this guy just put out a video recently, you know. But it was all about like working on like your own path, like doing like your own thing. And if you fall into these hype trains for stuff, like it goes back to everybody doing well, right?
Yep.
Nobody's going to do well if everybody produces the same thing.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like who are you selling to, especially on like a breeder type situation? Like,
Mhm.
you know, like it just doesn't make sense, you know. Like not everybody can be making the same exact thing. You need to like throw a little bit of your taste onto it and go from there.
Well,
I always told him from the beginning, he used to make fun of me all the time, and it was like blasphemous that I was a DG hater. And I'm not a DG hater. I just don't like the single gene DG, and it needs to be utilized in a bunch of different things. Like I just don't think it just does nothing for me personally. I understand utilizing it in projects, but I just don't like, it's not visually pleasing to me. So he used to pick at me all the time about it. I'm like, yeah.
For me, I try to sit down
I
like
love it.
a mad scientist in a sense and try to map out, you know, 3, 4, 5 years. Some of your breeders are not going to be successful, but, you know, did a video on holdbacks and choosing your holdbacks. I'm in agreement with you. I don't understand if you're already in. I get on Darren about this. I gotta keep throwing him under the bus.
You always be throwing Darren under the bus.
Because it's all love. It's
It's love. Let me just push you in front of this city bus real quick.
Trust me, he done backed the bus up over me a couple of times. So
well, it depends because all right, if it's a hobby / business and I'm working a couple projects, let's say for instance, but the whole business plan is not to reinvest any money this year because life is just going on. Okay, cool. Produce what you need to produce to keep moving yourself forward. But in this day and age where, you know, you're literally subconsciously throwing in $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a year into your programs, into your breedings, into moving forward, but yet you're still, you know, trying to breed a single gene clown to a blackhead het clown to produce blackhead clowns. It's like some of the stuff doesn't make any sense because if you think about it, if you do hit 6 eggs, what are you going to do with the stuff that you missed? You're going to be stuck with this stuff. It's better not to do that simple breeding, to move yourself ahead, buy exactly what you need if it's available. And it's in the lower to middle range rather than doing these breedings and ending up with so much byproduct. Mm-hmm. You know, we're trying to do a lot of breedings where we're not going to hit everything, but some of the stuff we can't go out and buy. That's why you need to do the breedings.
Yeah.
I get on to Adam about that. Adam, the dude from Proper Oils, because he and I get on to like another one of my buddies about it too, but sometimes it's in one ear, not the other there for him.
Right.
But it's, you know, it's sometimes, and especially with genetic testing out there, which, you know, kind of goes into like, you know, Steven's kind of question down there, which I want to touch on too, because I feel some kind of way about that as well.
Right.
But, you know, like if you have the ability to like get ahead genetically by getting like a visual het this or whatever, like value wise, it just makes more sense because at the end of the day, like your production value that you're going to get is going to be significantly increased by using certain things, you know. And
that's one thing people forget. It's kind of like you're chasing something, but if you could really actually now purchase something that you couldn't produce, go ahead and just purchase that and move forward.
yeah, like just because you mentioned blackhead clown stuff, I really like blackhead clowns. Like they look like phenomenal. Like I have a blackhead clown female that I got like a good while ago. And, I look forward to making super blackhead clown things like with her down the road. But I also picked up, and I'm really happy I was able to find this guy, is a blackhead clown het pied. Like that is, he's a cool male. He is a great example of blackhead. And, I got some good plans for him, coming up this next year. But to go on Steven's question, just because, that's kind of a, going towards something that would be kind of considered a triple, like a super blackhead clown pied, like, that's technically a triple.
Right.
But with what he's saying, like with different like with DG clown being used as a base for like other triple things, right? So again, everybody is, goo goo and gaga, rightfully so. It's a beautiful snake. The DG Exanthic clown, very beautiful. Everybody's going to go for it.
Yep.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
Everybody's going to go for it. So
they're doing it.
2 years from now, you are going to see a bunch of DG Exanthic clown things, and there's going to be such a small percentage of people buying it because everybody's made it.
Right.
I don't know how I just ended up that way.
Your phone must have kind of flipped.
You got excited.
My phone is on a tripod.
Oh, really? Okay.
My phone is definitely on a tripod.
It's just reading and gestures.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Do I do this? Does that? See, now it's doing that. See.
Oh, so
there
it goes.
Well,
I looked at it funny, I guess. I don't know.
That one movement just said flip.
Yeah. But, so again, it's going to be the DG clown situation, I think, all over again. Is 2-3 years from now, there's going to be a lot of DG Exanthic clown things out there, and there's not going to be a ton of people that are, just making the same stuff. And I agree with what Aaron's saying. Like, I'm not, like any snake for like 1,000, like that's a lot. Like there's nothing to say about that, but like the time, work, effort, energy, and all that other stuff to put into something that, people would probably pay like a hell of a premium for right now, and they're not even available, like a DG Exanthic clown. It's like what somebody, if somebody has a ton of combo clown stuff, which a ton of people have,
right.
they could spend 50, 60, 70 grand some kind of way. I don't know where they're getting that kind of paper, but they could spend that kind of money and pick up a DG Exanthic clown and run that through their collection and make a ton of really cool stuff.
Right.
But it's like, it shouldn't ever, I don't think, be like a race to the bottom as far as like trying to get like, a value just because it's good, and it's like, and I get it, it's like, who knows, like when are Sunset's going to make it to like the $1,000 range, next year, maybe sometime the year after. Like you probably have a year or two before they're in that range.
Okay, Sunset,
but
in our area, Sunset, a visual sunset sold for $1,500.
Yeah, so
with pastel, but
so it's like, right now it's like like 15 to 2 somewhere in there, relatively, and then getting into down another year or two down the road, it's like I think a female's still going to hold a lot of value. A male is going to come down within the next like year, within probably the next breeding season or two, to where they're going to be like around 1,000, because at that point, they've been produced for a while, and
right.
and it is good money. It adds up, but also, I don't know. It's like you make enough $200 snakes, and that adds up too. I mean, look at the Wilbanks plan. You know what I mean? Like, dude's friggin' pumping up, all that stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I hit a nerve on Aaron because he's just coming out with all kinds of stuff. But yeah, blackhead clowns, like, they took a drop. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
But no, see,
You know, they're passing the little grandma test. A blackhead clown is cool as shit.
Mhm.
yep.
Like, it's a
And then they
cool
just
looking animal. You know, that female, like, I got her for like $1,200. I would buy another one for the same price.
Yeah.
Some things, you know, are just, you know, same thing. Like, you know, chocolate clowns, they took a bit of a hit too.
Mhm.
They were like 1,200, or they were like 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, whatever. Like, not that long ago. Now you can get a male for like under $1,000. But
Right.
again, that's a clown problem because there's so many clowns. Everybody's producing clowns.
Yeah.
You know, there's an overabundance of availability of clown, and now you are trying to compete with the other 1,000 people or more or whatever
Yeah.
that are also producing clowns. You know,
Well, you
so
turn
it's-
around and buy a blackhead clown male for, you know, $1,000, $1,500. You got a couple of females, which you probably end up already have a couple of clown females. They don't even have to have any other gene into them. You turn around and breed that to another clown. Guess what? There's more out there now. Half your collection is going to be, they're going to all be clowns. Half are going to be blackhead.
Yeah.
yeah.
But how long blackhead been around? How long that combo has been created, and it's still, you know, still commanding a solid price. You know, it's been that combo is relative. Well, yeah, simple. You know, blackhead clown, but I mean, it's still solid. It's still solid.
Yeah.
And
And the blackheads are like, I mean, just in general, like, blackheads themselves are just a beautiful combo. Like, my
Right.
super blackhead female, like, she's phenomenal. Like, it's just a cool snake. You know, the super blackhead ultramel stuff that's been out there recently, super pretty. Like, it's really hard to beat like that look on like an animal.
I really like the super blackhead pies. Those.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dark.
That's definitely my direction for pied stuff for sure, is the super blackhead version.
I noticed that comment right there, actually. I'll just hit on that, you know, that sunset, or any gene really, but sunset being that in the time of COVID that it held its value a good bit longer than probably should be at this point in time, just in the grand scheme of like industry and market and stuff like that. But that's true too, if you think about it, where our whole economy was, like, as a whole, not just in the reptile industry, but as a whole, our economy is in sort of a bad place at the moment. I mean, you've got inflation that is crazy high. So people that would have maybe bought, you know, if the inflation rate weren't as high, if they weren't spending more on their gas, spending more on their groceries on a regular basis, those people who would have bought those at that price, I mean, that obviously sends demand into a different place as well, as not just being in just the reptile industry as a whole, or like the ball pythons, you know, as far as demand, supply and demand inside this industry by itself.
I would almost argue that some of those prices might have stayed higher if there were not issues with the economy itself.
Exactly.
Right. Plus, there's
You
a
know?
guy too, of people that support it, and that's any gene, not even just sunset. Either you're a fan of it, or you're hating on it, or you know, it wasn't too many people that were kind of just indifferent. You know, so you have people that's going to pay whatever the tag is to get what they want. Period. And then you're going to have people that's just not going to like that. Sometimes it's different scenarios. We found even in the beginning stages of this, some people will, because we see that even with the crested geckos, they'll see something that's cool, you know, but they'll want to automatically hate on it because maybe it's $15,000. But the moment they're able to secure it, it's now cool. and wait a minute, what changed here?
Like, I think that's like a problem with a lot of these people with like monsoon and stuff too, because that's another one that people throw a lot of shade at. Like, they got problem with the monsoon. It's like, oh, it's too strong, it's too this. It's like, but if it was $500, you'd buy it. If it was $1,000, you'd buy it.
Yeah,
like, you wouldn't have a problem. You wouldn't have nothing negative to say about it if it was within like a price range that you wanted to get it, or you were able to get it, or you could justify getting it.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I still don't have a visual monsoon, but I got double heads for a lot of stuff.
I mean, that was one of his very first like real acquisitions, was the monsoon male that we got.
Yeah,
And
that's when I actually came across your guys' first videos too, is when he got that stuff from Dave Green.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember coming across that. You
Your
guys are doing unboxing videos, friggin' left, right, friggin' up,
Oh,
down.
For forever the videos. I
Like
did
every week.
it for Hardwired, and like, I mean, there was like what? How many snakes was in
man,
that
we were,
box? I'm
and you
like,
know, and that's the crazy part. You know, we try to put out a lot of positive, but you end up dealing with a lot of hate too. You know, you'll get messages, oh man, look at these trust fund baby. I'm like, wait, please give me the trust fund.
Please tell me where the trust fund came
Please.
from. Because
But
I promise, if I have a trust fund somewhere and I
Yeah.
don't know about it, I'm gonna be real
it's
mad.
just, you know, some things you move forward on, and it's just like, you know, you just trying to make your own way. But that's, again, you want to be a part of hopefully something to try to bring everybody together, especially with, you know, shaky times like the industry or the market. I think it's rebounding now. I know a lot of people are seeing, like, I guess, tax money and things like
Yeah.
that. Even with the businesses not even really getting their taxes or done just yet. So I
No.
think it's going to come in waves. I think after the election is where we'll really see
We'll
what's going
settle
to happen.
into either.
Yeah, either way,
Whatever it's
we
gonna
won't
be.
make it a political.
No, we're not going to talk about that. But that being said, like, I do it. That is what I was kind of referring to, is like our market as a whole makes a huge impact on our industry.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, I think everybody can agree with this, and maybe you are gonna like stab me when I say this, but fact of the matter is when you get into animals like this, regardless of what animal it is, they really are luxury items. I mean,
Right.
they're your
Oh, yeah.
collection items, they're your passions. It's not your power, your water, your gas. It's
Right.
you know, that's not what
If
this
things
is.
go sideways, though, you'll have a good amount of rations for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Might not get very far with a bunch of ball pythons, but you know.
Yeah. But it's the normal, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a normal run of events. We go up, we go down. People don't understand that this is what business looks like, not
So,
this.
yeah, well, that's 100% true. I think another factor that comes into it is just like that, you know, RGI DG debacle that was going on.
Yeah.
Is, you know, all the, you know, everybody making like negative videos or clickbait videos and whatever about markets and prices and the sky is falling and this and that and the other thing. Like, all that's like, that doesn't tell your customers that this is a good business idea.
Right.
That doesn't give anybody any kind of warm and fuzzy. You know what I mean? Like, I've picked up steadily throughout the year, you know, and
Mhm.
I don't show those things or whatever, mostly because I got plans.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, like there's no reason for me to just give up everything I'm working on, you know, like, especially like just like in general to a bunch of people that I don't know or talk to or like whatever else, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like the blackheads that I posted on my Instagram today, those are at sunset, you know, like, but they're not going nowhere. So, you know, they're not going anywhere. Like, there's no reason for me to, you know, to put that stuff out there constantly, you know. It's like, you know, especially like I said, with like the new pickups and stuff, it's just, I don't know, just showing it, just like, oh, it's like maybe that's the direction that somebody hasn't thought of. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it's like, you know, like I showed a bunch of acids because I like, you know, like, because I know like you do your guys' gene chaser things, like Gavin did like the what's in your drawers, like it's all very like this specific animal or this specific project kind of thing. And you know, I was doing one of those too, and I just called it like a project series because I feel like that like made sense because it's like talking about a gene, how it works, like different things, but it's like some of the animals I showed didn't have like I wasn't going into detail on like the other genetics that those snakes had
Right.
because
Yeah.
there was no reason for me to put that out there. It's like, oh,
Yep.
like, you know, dang, I didn't think about putting, you know, this into this, and it's like, yeah, you didn't.
But the
So keep not
coloration's
thinking
different
about
on
it.
those too. You can
Right.
see that than any other blackheads. When I seen it, I was like, well, there's something else going on. When you see it, because it's not the same color blackhead. I was like, But I read what he said. I was like, okay, maybe it's not. Maybe not. Now I know. Now I know.
Well,
Somebody already said,
I'm curious to hear about it, Steven. We're getting in on Thursday, so.
like Tim said, he'll take them already. Oh,
Be hard pressed for none of them are leaving. I'll tell you that. I was actually thinking about too. I was like, what am I going to do with my super blackhead girl this year? Because some people posted some really cool blackhead paints. Like those looked like really nice.
yeah.
Like they looked real cool. But my yellow belly paint male, he's turning a new leaf. He was locking the girls at first, but now he's just chilling. So
Hey, man, you better go in there and do something.
yeah,
Like,
he hasn't been doing much.
Time out.
I only had a couple of girls I wanted to put him to this year too, just to make some stuff. But
Right.
you
have a lot of paint or head paint females or not yet?
No. So I just have that paint, the yellow belly paint male, and then I got an albino paint from Brock.
Okay.
He sent it to me to try and breed my male to her to make some paints. Just because he wants a couple girls to raise up, I'd like a couple girls to raise up. It's definitely like a building a base kind of pairing.
Right.
But then I've got some double het ultramel paints that I'm raising up too. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Blackhead.
And I thought about if I wanted to, and it's like I don't want to double up too many things on like the Monarch Ultramel kind of front. So it's like, I didn't really want to make double hets for those because I already have them for Ultramel. And it's like, I feel like I'd gain more ground doing it with like the sunset stuff just because, it's just, more like I have a lot more sunset stuff. It's a good base. It would be a good base to go forward with, because, eventually more people are going to want that kind of stuff. And then I'll have, all those pieces, for it. As far as the sunset stuff, I feel like that granite type gene stuff is, it's a little bit more, I don't know. I feel like some people like it, some people don't,
right.
I like it.
Oh yeah, so do I. Yeah, it adds so much like texture to stuff. Like I'd rather have something that has that, I don't know, personality to it versus something that's like super clean.
Right.
So just adds a different kind of character, I guess.
I'm more of I like the busyness.
Not the business.
Yeah.
How you feel about the Cosmos and Tornado from what we've seen so far?
I mean, it's cool, it's nice. The dollar value that it would cost to get into it, especially for Cosmos being an incomplete dominant.
Right.
Could you make your money on it? Sure. You could, but the drop is going to be something. Yeah, the drop is going to be a lot. So, it's one of those deals where you either get in like right away and you either try and pump out a bunch of stuff to try and get your money back, which is what a lot of people are going to be doing, which means the price is going to drop very quick because everyone's going to be fighting with each other over the sales. Or you get something like that and you take it into other multi-recessive, incomplete dominant with good super, type animals. And then you sit on those for 2 or 3 years and then you produce combos off of that, and then you're positioning yourself further in front of the other people that also got it, but they went for the quick cash grab on producing a bunch of stuff versus seeing the project through, or not seeing the project through. That's probably that explanation. But, basically like, I guess getting the most out of it by changing things up, I guess, not trying to produce the same old thing, year after year with them. So
Patience is a virtue.
It is.
No, you don't.
It is.
He's not patient at all.
That's why, I know I've seen like Kristen here, the neurophile, like exotic shoes in here. She does like leopard geckos and stuff too, but it's like I'll talk to her about different projects and stuff sometimes, and it's just like she's like talking about this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, first off, you're probably not going to be able to find that.
Right.
And if you do find that, it's going to be stupid expensive. So it's like you're more better suited. And at the end of the day, you're buying time whenever you're buying some of these like higher dollar things, right? But it's like sometimes you'd be better suited to find the ingredients and just have those, you know? It's like the cost to do that is oftentimes very different,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you know, you could very easily get a whatever het male to breed to these females, and you know, now yeah, you're producing say 50% less of what you could have produced with like a visual, but you're
Right.
also probably paying a third of the price, you know. So it's like you could do those things to try and come up and basically capitalize on producing, you know, different things, you know, through like genetic testing, and also kind of get your, you know, project a year or two ahead. But again, you have to like hope that you fall on the right sexes, and then also hope that you fall into the right genetics as far as like testing goes too.
Right. Mike was just saying it you know, protected against the multi-recessive wall. I get what he's saying. Kind of believe it to a certain extent. What he's saying is get these genes, get these combos into multiple recessive things that's generally harder to make. So the supers, going out, and the allelic supers. I love the allelic supers.
Oh yeah, same here.
Yeah, you know, it's gonna hold its value a lot longer than just kind of pumping it out as fast as you can.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what happened with Stranger. You know,
Yeah,
people
exactly.
started adding that. That was the first one they started adding into recessive like that, and kind of kept running with it.
Yeah.
And it kept its value for a long time.
I still think it's still solid. Yeah, it's dropped, but you're talking about
Just a single gene.
stranger pos hets, you know, or you know, the single gene stranger het. At this point, I mean, you gotta push the envelope. Get some nice little combos. Be strategic with it. You know, be smart. You know, I see a lot of it out there.
Stranger looks good in a lot.
Definitely favorite gene right now. Right?
Yeah, he likes that. You know, I'm very elementary, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right word. I guess I'm old, but I have always, and y'all know, like if y'all have seen any of the videos with me in it, typically it's got to have something to do with the guy that had it. It's got GHI in it. I love GHI and anything and everything GHI. So.
Oh, the GHI Monarch looks good. I like that.
Yeah, the one John made looked really nice. There was another one before that was kind of, you know, probably a bad picture, because I sent it to him and I was like, man, that is disappointing.
I seen John's in person, so I was like, oh, that's it.
His looked real nice.
Yeah.
I like Stranger though too. I wouldn't go so far as saying it's like a favorite of mine, but I have seen some recently that look really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Stranger Xanthic from Bob, and she's cool. She has pinstripes, so it's like maybe not the best, but it's like, you know, beggars can't be choosers, so that's what I got. Then like 3 months later, he posted one without pinstripe, and I was like, well, I would have liked that one more, but whatever. I like pinstripe though. It's just, you know, it means that anything I produce with or down the road is also going to have pinstripe, which is, you know, however that shakes out, you know. But my like favorites are basically Blackhead, Chocolate, and Hurricane. As far as like those genes, because the super forms of all of them look awesome.
Oh yeah,
and they look awesome without clown. So
yeah,
which is another thing about the genetic testing, because they proved that Hurricane, Trick, and Blitz all of them the same. So
do you think Chocolate and Wookie are pretty much the same?
I think it's the same kind of thing as Black Pastel and Cinnamon.
Okay. Yeah.
Personally, like, you know, like Justin had his video talking about the, you know, Chocolate and the Wookie, like talking about like the different version of like a super chocolate clown versus a Wookie chocolate clown, and you know, and they look like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they look like this, like it's like I feel like he was like trying to say something about them like looking different, but like my eyes tell me they look basically the same. They're just slightly different.
Right.
Like they're just like I don't know, what do they call that? Like I don't know. It's just variation between like the animals. Like, you know, they're not gonna all look like the exact same, but like it's close enough to where it's like, you know, they're pretty much the same kind of look. And it's like, in a lot of the Wookiee stuff does look good, but I think that comes down to like line breeding and stuff too. Like, not all chocolates are created equal. Not all blackheads are created equal. Not all hurricanes are definitely created equal. There's a reason why Hurricane was the most popular of those three. It's because they looked the best. Like, you use your eyeballs and it says the Hurricane looks the most impressive, you know, typically. And it's the same thing with like Wookiee and chocolate. Like, I don't have any Wookiee stuff. I have a bunch of, like, not a bunch, but a decent amount of chocolate stuff. And, you know, they look, you know, the ones that I got, they look good and they've done really well. So it's, you know, I'm not opposed to adding like one of these other like lines or whatever by like any stretch. And I would most likely keep them the same name that they came with. Like, I'm not going to start calling my chocolate stuff Wookiees just because,
They look
you know, whatever reason, you know, but I got like Confusion and Acid stuff, and I'd prefer to call that stuff Acid just because I like that name better.
Right.
You know,
What do you think about line breeding? And nobody really does it in the ball python world.
I mean, that's kind of I mean, I feel like that's what it is. Like, in ball pythons, people don't do it, but that goes down back to like what we talked about before, like keeping your best stuff. So if like you keep your best stuff and then you're constantly producing with your best stock, then it's just going to improve that like look, you know, down the road. Like, it's going to be like a distinguishable like look for either that gene or whatever else, you know, like the Hurricane stuff that I got is phenomenal Hurricane stuff. Like, I got it from Dave. It looks beautiful, and his stuff came directly from Hans. So it's, you know, as line bred as it probably can be for, yeah, that's the one, polymorphic. But it's like as line bred as it can possibly be, and you know, they're great examples of it. And it's like, I do have plans to put it in clown, but I don't. It's not that I don't want to. There's definitely stuff that I want to do to put it in clown, but it looks so good like outside of clown that it like does a disservice to Hurricane. Because the thing that I like about Hurricane is that it like breaks out like the patterns, and you get the double biceps, you know, you get the swirls, you get like all that stuff. I don't like that eye of the Hurricane stuff. I want the double biceps out there.
Okay.
And you don't get that with clown. With clown, you just get the big old eye hole.
Right.
So
I like the way it responds with pies, because I like the Hurricane pies.
Yeah, we have Hurricane pies and it's beautiful.
that's why I got so many hypopides.
Nice.
You know, because I like the way that it looks of that too. Like, it looks really nice. And you know, my male that I'm going to be using for all that stuff is a Super Hurricane, because it's like, I don't want the questions of, is it a Hurricane? You know, I just don't want to deal with that. If I can do stuff with like a super form, that's what I'll do it with. That's why I have Super Gravels. That's why I have, you know, a white base.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I have like the Super Blackhead. Like, that's why I have that stuff, and that's why I'm going for like super chocolates and super hurricanes and everything else, because I don't want that maybe it is, maybe it isn't, like, you know, thing.
That's very important you said that, because you know, again, we're young in the game, but that was one of our things why we did the gene chasers and started with that. Is ID, and it's not as simple for us as it is for some other people. And even some of
I don't think it's simple for a lot of people.
get it messed up. So it's like,
No, there's a lot of misidentifications that'll tell you that's true.
Yeah. So when you get into them supers, you know, we love the supers because, like, hey, if it's legally, it's one or the other. And if it's a super, then you know that it passed on one of these genes along, and now we can gain the actual hands-on experience of seeing it interact and say, okay, yeah, we done hatched out. Shoot, first year we over 200 babies now, so we got our eyes on those,
on a lot of them,
and now we get to progress.
It's like when there was some talk about, because we did a Gene Chasers, I think it was Gene Chasers. Was it Gene Chasers that we did the comparison between the two supers? It was like
Atari and
Grim
the-
Reaper?
yep, Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
So Super
Grim Reaper, yeah.
Grim-
They were saying they were the same gene, right?
They're
Like they saying
not.
they was
You can clearly see
no,
that
they don't look the same.
They do not
Yeah, I was
look
gonna
the
say
same.
I don't think they're the same either.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
That's another one that I got not too long ago, which I really want to do some stuff with, is the Grim stuff.
Oh yeah.
The first,
Darren picked up a female after we got the male.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
The Grim Reaper, yeah, the Grim Reaper. It's hey, people hit me up and ask me if I have any supers. I was like, no, I don't.
yeah.
Pick that up from Tropical Hut. I don't.
yeah. I just picked up a male. That was the only thing that was available for what I had gotten, basically. And that's fine. Like, I don't have no problem using that male next year to a female or two. Probably just one female, maybe another one. I don't know. But I'm going to use that, produce my girls, hold those girls back, wait it out, and try and go from there. And I like the look. It's really cool. It has a cool name. The first one I seen, I didn't really care for that much, and I don't know if it's because how it was being shown or whatever. But I've seen other examples, like the dude, Averted Visions, Averted Reptiles, something like that. Like, he showed some, and he took his ad down for it, which is interesting. He had a Grim Reaper clown up that looked really cool.
Oh wow.
He had a couple other things. You can still find a picture of it on his Instagram, and it looks really nice.
Oh, pull that up, Will. I need to see that. I need to see
Yeah,
that.
it's like
Was it
Averted
Instagram?
Visions or Averted Reptiles or something.
Yeah, it's a Grim
It's
Reaper
like
clown.
it's like AVERTED, and then I don't know if there's an underscore, or I don't know, but
Let's see.
you'll see it though. He has some really nice stuff. And I found in my research of it, I think the guy that founded it is called like Tropical Hut or
Tropical Hut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
who I
So it's
picked
like
mine up from.
I was looking at a lot of the supers and a lot of the stuff he had, and it's like he has them for like a reasonable price, and that's like another thing too, right? It's like they don't need to be a stupid expensive animal
Right.
to like do some cool stuff with. Like, I showed him the other week on my Instagram, but like, I have a black adder. Yeah, see, that's a cool looking snake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like super wide. They almost look like Mario mushroom, kind of like blocking like within the
Oh yeah.
Blacks
within
are
the
black.
side patterns. Oh yeah, and it's like a black, like a deep black.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's
I
like whenever I seen that, I was like, okay, well, that's that's sold. Not everything needs to be in clown, but that looks real nice in clown.
Right.
So it's like that was what kind of sold me on that project, was seeing that. And it's a cool looking snake, and it's not super expensive, and there's a ton of stuff you could do with it. And that's why I got that black adder thing that I got, because very similar to that, like it increases like the connectivity of like the alien heads like down the body. So it created a really unique look. So it's like doing that same thing in the various color mutations and stuff. It'll look really cool. So that's kind of the way.
Eventually, adding on to Steven's comment, eventually that genetic testing, it's probably gonna take a few years, will actually bring down the amount of morphs there are in ball pythons from 300 down to say, hey, this and this is the same, and condense it into probably half or less than that.
Kinda. Again, the problem is you're gonna have like ego getting in the way, right? Like, how many forms of fire are there?
Right.
Yes.
And it's like someone's gonna be like, oh, my fire's different because of whatever. And it's like, they're proven to be the same thing, like genetically.
It's fire.
Right.
It's fire, and it's like, and it very well could have, originated elsewhere or whatever, like, who knows what the situation is, but at the end of the day, it's very confusing to people that are fairly new. Like, again, I think that's a huge benefit to me being involved in the boas for as long as I was, and having a bunch of like ball python friends, is that I was able to like be aware of all these mutations like as they were coming in, just because seeing pictures and being involved with people and talking with people and like all that stuff, so it's like it wasn't really news to me about, a lot of these mutations. Like if someone else is coming in, I'm already overwhelmed with the amount of possibilities, much less somebody that knows nothing about nothing. They're coming in and, they're super confused, with all the different options and possibilities and everything else that are basically out there.
Right. Now you get one of the mini 130s from ARS.
Yeah.
How are you liking that?
I really like it.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you can fit a good sized male in there. I actually have two bastards that decided they were breeding and then they wanted to like not eat.
Right.
And when I say not eat, I mean they literally missed 2 meals.
Right.
And I would try and put and I would, try and offer them food in their, 55 series, the 55 tub. And I would check on them and it would still be in there. I moved them into a mini 130 and they are squeezing in tight. But they ate within like 5 minutes of being in there.
Wow.
So it's like, so you can fit a good, like, and they're like 600 gram, 700 gram males that are like squeezed in there, but they fit and they eat. So I put them in there, they eat, and then I throw them back in their tub.
Yeah. And we just added or picking it up at the 1078 and they can get out. I guess they're a little bit double, maybe the 130 size tub size, because it's a unique tub size.
Mm-hmm.
They're just twice as wide.
Twice as wide.
It's the same 10 series tub that they used before, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So that rack just fits, 5 in a row where you can fit 10 series tubs. And it's like, I'd rather probably just, personally, I like these little the mini 130s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just like them, like the water dish is like a nice size. I feel like I had like the placement of the water dish in the 10 series. I feel like it's so far up front, like I would have problems with like putting rodents in and the rodent would come flying out and then I gotta like play catch, trying to catch this thing before it's running around the snake room. So I don't feel like I have that same problem in the one.
Better than me. I'm like,
why that is. Yeah, it's something.
Oh my god.
Nah, I've had that problem. I had that problem yesterday because I was cleaning babies yesterday, and then I was feeding at the same time, and I went in there and set him in there, try to close it. He hopped back out before I could even close, and I was like, "Oh man!"
Yeah, they're
Grab him by
fast.
his tail, he's screaming.
You gotta be quick. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But
And then
I like the 130 though. It's a good rack. I'm probably gonna end up. I want to get it like another 55 series rack, just because I have a lot of holdbacks and a lot of stuff that I bought last year that I'm raising up that I need to like either test, and then there's other stuff that I either need to get rid of to like move that stuff, up into the current racks that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll, depends on how that goes, but I like the rack.
Extra room to continue to expand, or will that be probably your last addition tub wise, rack wise?
I didn't even want to get that one. It's not for a matter of like any reason, is I just want to keep the quantity kind of low.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I need to do, like, I have like 3 pied head ultra male females, right? But I also have like 3 ultra male pied females that I'm raising up. So
Right.
once those ultra male pied girls are like one's in the breeding rotation now, one will be in the breeding rotation either later this season or next season for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is a 23 baby, so it probably won't be ready until, down the road. But
Right.
it's like, ideally, I'm going to basically replace those 3 het females with the double visual, so it's, some of it is a matter of producing the things that I need to produce to then replace, some of the things that are here that'll still be valuable for somebody else's collection.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I would prefer to not do that. But if I really needed to, I could fit like a lot, like I could easily fit like a lot more racks or whatever within the room that I have. Because my snake room is like, I don't know, like 28 by like 23 or 25 or something like that. So it's a pretty good sized snake room. So
that's huge.
Yeah, that is. It's a nice size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
I mean,
nice.
we were fortunate in that, like, I think what it was like a rec room before, like the house we bought it, and so it just had like the basement was pretty much just a big open area on like the one side. So
Okay.
it like is pretty much just a big open area ready for a snake room. So
Nice.
worked out pretty well in that regard.
Now you feed ASF a lot. Are you producing for the whole collection, or are you still having to purchase on a weekly?
Sometimes right now it's these babies that are like burning through rats faster than I can either produce them or they'll grow up, you know, because it's like, and it's part of it's like my fault because I got a ton of stuff I should have done wholesaled long ago, like a bunch of het males, double het males, like a bunch of normal stuff. Like that stuff, I probably got like 20 or 30 of those things that I'm feeding like either every week or like bi-weekly, in ASF that could have grown up and, I don't know. So sometimes it's just a matter of like finding the place and actually reaching out. And it's would save a lot of time if I wasn't having to clean those extra tubs and feed the extra meals and do all that stuff. So it's poor time management on my part. It's just dealing with it. That's also whatever, I've talked to a couple pet stores around here, and I think they're just too small to like need like that kind of quantity or whatever.
Right.
So I need to reach out to like other kind of places to try and move those for, because they're good like pet animals, but even at like the shows around here, it's like people don't want to even spend like 20-40 bucks or whatever on like a normal ball python for like a pet.
Right.
But that's understandable because there's a lot of really pretty options out there. It's like, why do that when you could spend 200 bucks and get like a banana that's like fluorescent?
Yeah.
Yep.
Seeing that go down.
Yeah, for sure.
So
It's hard to argue because they're pretty.
What's the next show you'll be attending?
Well, we're just gonna go visit the Gettysburg. We're gonna go visit Tinley, so we're just gonna go hang out there.
Oh, nice. Stop by, man. Stop by. Definitely. We gotta get some pictures.
Yeah. I decided to. We decided to drive up there versus fly. One, it's only a 10-hour drive for us, which isn't that bad.
Okay.
But I think it's just good. Like, I think a lot of these shows, a lot of it's just the hangout versus like actually like vending.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to vend at Tinley. Having ball pythons, I know that that's like a tall order. But within the next like year or so, I should be producing a lot more like blood pythons.
Right.
And I ideally would like to go to a show and basically just have a table of blood pythons and a display of ball pythons and a display of blood pythons, because blood pythons are just like phenomenal. Like the colors on some of these blood pythons are just like, you can't even comprehend it.
Yeah, what is it? The Matrix? I think it's the Matrix.
I'm talking like even the albinos. Like the albinos are like actual red, like fire truck red. Oh no, they're stupid. I'll grab one real quick. They're stupid looking. Like I don't even think you're ready for how colorful these things are.
Uh-oh.
Hey, buddy.
I'm not ready for the jelly.
So the thing is with blood pythons, you have to fully support them.
Right.
Because they're nice and thick.
Oh wow.
Oh my.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So they are red.
Right.
Like actual red. So
her pattern's on the side like a ball python.
That's not.
So these things are like actual red, and the black bloods are black, like black.
I've seen those.
Like they are shadow snakes.
Wow, those
That's
are
pretty.
What they just made a leucistic one. They just made a blood python leucistic. I think Juggernaut. That's the guy that did it.
Elijah.
Yeah, he had them at Tinley.
So the black bloods are just as cool. They're just black.
Oh, how pretty is that?
Yours aren't aggressive?
No, dude, these are chill.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Sure.
What's he gonna do?
Wow.
Do nothing?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's and they're hard to beat, and they make some
Yeah.
really cool looks, and
Yeah, you're always
they
hearing
come
about
in a
people
lot
getting
of
bit,
varieties.
and the tooth is less than their hand.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen.
Yeah, they're trying to think of like any other. Well, no, they also have like both T positive and T negatives, and there's a variety of looks that they have. So it depends on what you want. Be chill, buddy. So this one here is a cherry bomb lineage T positive.
Oh wow.
So these guys have like red heads.
Look at that.
Yeah, full on
So
redheads.
these things are,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're insane looking.
I like how they're thick.
Oh
Just
yeah.
so
Yeah.
thick.
So the thing is too, like blood pythons, even the like the normal versions still look beautiful. Like this one here. Don't be crazy with me. So this one is just a regular, well, it's a stripe het T positive, but just the regular look of a blood python is beautiful.
That's so pretty.
You know, like
Just a normal.
they've got stripes. Yeah, they have really cool color. They get better as they age. Like they are like really cool snakes. And the only thing they need is to be fully supported, because like they're chill. Like they're not going to do nothing if you fully support their body.
Wow.
But they're awesome. I love these, and then I also love the berms. Like the berms and the bloods are really cool. But they're all pretty chill, man. You don't need to worry about them being crazy if you just interact with them.
Right.
So
wow.
Now, are those considered Sumatrans?
no. So some of them, the black one was considered a Sumatran. So it's split up kind of different and kind of weird, right? So you have like Borneos, which are there's Borneos, there's blood pythons, and then there's Sumatran short-tail pythons. So the Sumatran short-tail pythons are like the black one that I showed you, and then they also make there's also caramel, and then there's chrome. So the chrome sounds like what it sounds like instead of being black, they're like chrome, like gray.
Like gray, yeah.
Like I was actually looking at that boy earlier, and I was like, man, like I need to find a girl for this. Now I have to go get him because he's also like stupid nice.
Wow.
Where does he live?
Now, with people, do they kind of frown upon crossbreeding them or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah,
They like
pretty
to keep.
much don't want to do that.
He said, "Yeah, you don't want to do that."
So like so the chromes are like they're chrome.
Oh yeah, he looks like that xanthic color.
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
So he's like kind of like gunmetal gray.
Yeah, pewter.
Again, exactly. So he's got the cool head. He's got really cool, unique pattern, and he's gray and black, but just a really, really cool snake. So, and as you can see, I pulled out like 5 different or so of these suckers, and every single one has been nothing but pleasant.
Yeah. But you got big hands.
Here goes a new division of flawless, creations, huh?
God, there you go. There you go, Will.
He's just sitting here nudging me like, no.
How many eggs do they normally lay?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
I'm not sure. The Sumatrans lay, like the Sumatran short tails, they have larger clutches but smaller eggs. So you're looking at like slightly bigger than ball python size clutches, but they do get quite a bit bigger. Like I have like the enclosures that I use for those are the 80 series ARS tubs.
Okay.
So basically in like, instead of like the 30 tub like CB70, you know, you're basically looking at 16 tubs in the same space.
Oh wow.
But
I always heard
but they get pretty good size though.
they were spicy.
Yeah.
You said you thought they were spicy?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've always heard that they were like real spicy. I can't.
My like these ones, whenever I feed them, like they'll actually take it off the tongs, but like my adult pair, like they don't even take them off the tongs. Like I just put them on the floor of the tub, and then they just crawl up to it and eat it whenever they want, I guess.
Wow.
Like they're so ridiculous. And they're good size. Like I had like some shedding issues recently with them,
Mhm.
hmm
but they are, you know, they're chunky. But they're like really friendly. And these aren't probably like, these are like older style ones.
Oh no.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
wow.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's nice size.
So it's a good size snake, but again, you know, like super
Probably
chill.
tame.
Yeah, like they're not gonna do nothing.
Wow.
But yeah, you can just, you know, I just reach right in and grab these guys. I don't even use a hook for these things. I use a hook on like the berms and stuff just because they're generally speaking much bigger,
Right.
you know, so I'm not trying to deal with that. But
See, I love the emerald tree boas and the green tree pythons, but those teeth not happening. Nope,
yeah,
can't do it.
Zzz.
I love them. I love the way they look. They're
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, but
To answer Mark, they piss a lot. They
They
will
do.
pee like a lot. So I'm actually in the process of moving all of my not everybody, I don't know. I keep going back and forth, man, because I've been having like, it's like I feel like I get like gnats at different times, and I really like detest having those. And
Mhm.
it's like, and I think going to paper specifically will remove that problem. And a lot of people actually keep blood pythons on paper because they pee so much.
Right.
They're only going to poop like once every 6 months.
Oh
But
wow.
like, yeah, they don't go number two regularly at all.
Oh,
And so you and also you're only feeding like an adult blood python. You're feeding those like a female twice a month, a male once a month. Like that's all they need. Like they don't need more than that.
mm.
Same thing with like the berms, like the Burmese. Like I feed my big female. Like I probably feed her like, I don't know, every like 4 to 6 weeks. If I'm feeding her rabbits, if I'm feeding her rats, I feed her probably bi-weekly
Mhm.
just a large rat. And then during breeding season, that's when I'll feed her like 10, 15 pound rabbits.
Oh wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Good grief.
we're not
big.
no rabbits.
Yeah, she's a good sized girl though. So
She'd be.
Have, have you
all my other ones, huh?
have you thought about doing like the Reptiliner?
I have them in some of them, but like I feel like cost wise, it doesn't make sense. You know, because especially with like the babies and stuff, like whenever these babies this week have like messed up their tubs, I just clean their tub and I just double layer paper towel rolls
Mhm.
because, you know, again, it's like I think it's like so warm and so humid in there. It's just like immediately, you know, it just gets like super funky, and sometimes it's like musty from like the piss that you don't even like see. And
Right.
it's like I'm just
Mm.
tired. I'm just tired of dealing with that. And I haven't really liked the paper in the past, but I just go back and forth on it. I don't know.
Somebody's actually
It's
passed
like,
same temps and humidity as ball pythons.
I mean, you want like a pretty decent amount of humidity, but temperature wise, they actually need it quite a bit cooler.
Hmm.
I had a clutch of eggs last year from my goldeneye female, and I ended up with a lot of slugs. I ended up with like 4 eggs. 2 of them ended up going bad. 2 made it. We cut them right before we left for Daytona because it was on my birthday. So I was like, let's cut these, you know, birthday snakes, whatever. It was already like day 56, so they were like ready to go. And I think one of them was already dead in the egg, and the other one died shortly after. Like, I don't know. I think it was like a temperature problem because a lot of people, what you do is you basically keep them like ambient temperature at like 80 degrees.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much fine. And then once you're actually like breeding and the female like gets closer to like ovulation, that's when you like bump the temperatures up, but not by much. You're like keeping them at like 86 degrees or so. And then same with the babies and the younger ones, you keep those at about 86.
How about the
So you
egg?
keep, no, you can incubate them at the same temperature, like
Okay.
88, 89. I think I'm gonna, like, right now my incubator's at like 89. I think I'm gonna drop it down to 88, and that's only because it's like the higher the temperature, it just means they'll kind of come out sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't really care about that so much. I'd rather
Yeah.
them be like super healthy and whatever. And it's like, who cares if it takes an extra couple of days? You raise the animal up for 2 or 3 years as it is. So what's an extra like 3 or 4 days, after, for incubation?
Same
So
thing with the crested
With the
geckos.
crested
We
gecko.
got the
Mhm.
couple of Wilbanks incubators, and we incubated 68. And man, everybody's
It's a
trying to pump
huge
them out at
difference.
like 90 days, 80 days. We're getting like 150
Yeah.
days.
Anywhere from 120 to 150 days, we're
Yeah,
getting.
but we're like, it is what it is. They come out bigger,
Yeah.
stronger.
They
They rock.
seem more, capable of thriving at that point.
yeah,
It's pretty much taken out all that failure to thrive stuff that we've seen in Pat, like when we first started. Like,
Mhm.
why is this? What's going on here? And then you learn, but that's
yeah.
really made a difference.
I know another problem that people have too with like the blood python eggs is sometimes if they have like too many eggs in like an egg box, and it's like, so if you like overcrowd it, you know what I mean? It's like same thing even in like, for ball pythons. If you have too many eggs in the egg box and then it gets like closer to like the time, the eggs are going to be releasing more heat. And it's
Mhm.
like, so you could easily cause some stuff to go bad because they end up, getting too hot. So it's, I don't, I wouldn't want to have more than like 8 eggs per like, standard, bin,
Right,
size, just because it's like, I don't want to, cook a bunch of them. I'd rather have, two bins in there for one clutch than,
right.
basically stack them in there too high. And then you end up, cooking all of them or whatever towards the end of the season. So,
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Makes sense. Dang. Well, shoot, we've occupied almost 2 hours of your time, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
Man,
This has been great.
yeah.
Really, really.
You've been nonstop the whole
I
time.
know. You're just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't go that far, but I appreciate it.
Nah, the experience is
I
there.
am a wealth of opinions. I feel like
He said a wealth of opinions.
Yeah. That one. Like
Yeah,
he's going through
definitely wanna the
some of your posts and stuff, but the one that really caught my attention was this one he's about to show you. I always like your pictures and stuff were always awesome, but this particular one was like, oh, this is creative. This is really
all of them are
creative.
creative.
Where is it at?
That's crazy. Blood pythons, they only get twice a year. That's crazy. That's like nothing.
typically, yeah. I mean, they're literally like not moving in their enclosure. They just sit there.
Yeah, that one there.
This one here.
The clarity, man, you just go overboard, man. It's awesome. I love this. It really is.
This one really got me. I was like, this is creative. You gotta look at this.
Yeah, but then it leaves me stumped on like, what should we be doing?
What can we do?
Like we have failed to meet the bar.
The sad part is I have like so many other ideas for stuff, but it's just a matter of like how much work they take to do.
Yep.
All for like something that's like 7 seconds and something you need to post like every single day.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, like,
How
I
do
don't
you
know.
feel about that?
I don't
Posting
like
every day is worth it, or posting quality? Because some people say posting every day kind of creates more followers versus putting out quality.
I'd rather put out something that looks better than more stuff.
Right.
Personally, and it's like, and I've had plans for literally months now to make like a video on like taking pictures on like, for stuff. Like I made a video for doing it for your like phone, but doing
Right.
it with like an actual camera. But the problem is that like there's so many different steps and so many factors that come into it. And it takes like progress, it takes you like putting in the effort to like actually try and do it. So it's like, and here's the thing, right? To make a video on how to take like good pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many variables. It's like, one, am I going to show you, like, it's like I have to show you how to learn how to put white balance, to use a surface that you want to use for like your images, to get the white balance for that, to doing it with like natural light, doing it with room light, doing it with a flash, doing, like there's like so many different like ways that you can do it.
It's all
And each one is very dependent on your situation, your camera, and everything else. It's like, I don't know. It's like stuff like that. It's like it would be a very helpful, beneficial video for a lot of people. But what are they going to do with that information? And it's like, I want to make it in such a way that it's useful, and a lot of the thing is a lot of these videos for snake relating things are extremely time consuming for something that is only going to be like, like a video on like doing photos. Like that's a video that would literally probably be like at least like a 30-second one, or broken into multiple, different things, And again, like that video you just showed is literally just putting the camera on a tripod and recording different scenes. Like I try and either change the camera angle or change like the viewing position of the snake or change the portion of the snake. And then basically just kind of go between 2 or 3 different spots. And again, keeping it on a tripod, keeping, whatever kind of background, whatever stuff. I mean, that was literally just the back of my incubator, like for that video,
Wow.
Yeah, you just got to utilize the stuff that you have, like at your, disposal, more or less. And you could do great stuff with your phone, but I think most people try and do like a lot of handheld stuff, and it would just end up turning out way better if they did it like on a tripod and move the snake to that. And actually just, putting in more effort, I guess.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like it's like a harsh way to say it, but it's like, yeah, if you put in more effort. Why did it do it again? I don't know what I did.
Something when you move, it just says. Doop.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let's do this again.
Stuff that does.
And it goes back.
And then do this again.
There we
There
go.
it goes.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's like just putting in effort on that stuff. I think it'll make a difference. At the very least, you're showcasing your animals and your projects and your production, and you're showing all that stuff off at a much like higher like level than just this'll do,
Right.
And lately I've just and kind of have been doing that lately. I still put thought into what I will post along with the picture, but I've like mostly just like I'll go through and I'll just take like pictures of like 10, 15 different animals with different colored backgrounds, and then I'll use those throughout the course of like a week or so. And then it's like I don't have to do it, and it'll take me probably like an hour to take all those pictures versus like whenever I create like a reel of some kind, it's usually like 30 minutes to an hour to like make it.
Yeah.
Because of, between figuring out like what I'm going to make it on, whatever the idea is, and then actually like recording those different like pieces. And then, like that one that you showed with like opening the tub, like the whole make an offer thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that one took way longer because I recorded all the stuff and then I went to edit it. And then I realized that one scene didn't work very well because of how I was holding my phone or whatever. And then I had to go re-record that. So it's like, I spent way more time doing that video all for 7 seconds, It's like,
He said, take two.
Kind of ridiculous, the amount of time and effort that you put into like that stuff for, people to just have a short attention span on it. And, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not like a fan of that, but we all fall into the trap.
Yeah, we all do. And then like you said, take advantage of what you have. We talking about like light boxes and stuff. Darren and I was talking about not just using the regular matte base. It's so cheap to be able to either put something down there or make something that's
like I have like these lights up in my room, and those are like 5200 or 5300 Kelvin. So they're like pretty much daylight balanced lights.
Yeah.
So it's like all my videos and all that stuff, I just use my room lighting for like that, and then I just get the white balance, and it's like, and if I need to, I'll pull out like a video light or something like that, or use like a reflector or something to like bring in like extra light to fill in some shadows or something.
Right. Yeah, we did those lights. The only thing is I should have, pulled used my man card when we painted the facility, because someone decided to like paint the wall like a Tiffany blue.
No, it is not Tiffany blue. It is gravity. It's called gravity, and it's a gray color.
So
he's colorblind. He's
colorblind.
You forgot about that, Will. He's all blue. It's great.
No.
Yeah, gray's pretty good though, because if you take pictures against like a gray wall or something gray, it'll be easier for your camera overall in like an auto white balance kind of setting to like determine what the actual color balance is.
So like what I have an issue is trying to get those like lavender albino colors to come in, because everything doesn't know.
Well, the problem is everything's overexposed there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing when I try and take a picture of any of these damn Candinos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like looking at them with my eyeballs, and they're like yellow, orangey, and like a good purple shade.
Right.
Yep.
And then whenever I take a picture of them, they look like a damn albino.
Yeah.
It's like I have to make the picture much darker to like even show like the purples and the actual color that they have.
Yeah.
So it's an exposure problem. It's just it's trying to compensate for making things that are white like a gray color is more or less what's happening. So it'll kind of mute that stuff out. So you have to underexpose the image, and then 2, you have to correct the white balance to get like a proper image of those. And it's really annoying when you're trying to take pictures of those and other snakes that are not lavenders.
Yep.
I think his issue is really his color blindness. Like a lot of times when I see, like, I mean, it's legit. It's like, I don't know, green, and I'm like, that's yellow. Like, yellow is the day is wrong. Yellow, that's yellow. Or he'll be like, yeah, that's white. No, it's yellow. Everything is yellow. If you think it's another color, it's going to be yellow. Like, it's just, and he's like, oh, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. So I think that's his issue with like our color in there, because it's definitely gray. It's gray.
Well, are you still in denial? No. Oh.
I'm nothing to say.
Oh, really? You don't?
I'm nothing to say.
Oh, okay. That means I'm right. Right.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah. Well,
you see how the exit stage left.
It's time to go eat at this point. Yeah. We've been holding everybody back on this Sunday while we ramble and talk snakes.
It's been awesome
for almost 2 hours. Hey, Brandon, we really appreciate your time, man.
I know I had to come on here with him, because
she's always talking about your film work. She's sending it to me. I said, I already seen it. I already seen it. I'm always on top of it. But my one question to you, as far as with your collection, obviously you're looking at growth and progressing your projects along even further. But as far as your brand identity, where do you see yourself level-wise in the hobby? Because we see you at one place. We want to see where you see yourself at, because the creations and animals you're creating right now is incredible.
Yeah.
Man, while I do appreciate that, I would disagree to an extent. Like, some of the stuff I've made is nice. Like, the sunsets I've made are nice. Like, I have like select pretty animals that I've made that I think are like really well. A lot of the stuff I've made is within last year and this year has been like fairly like basic, and it's like there's the few exceptions that are out there, but what's I think really going to change, and where I feel like my like placement would go like higher, I'm not even sure like what kind of tier things would be even rated at. But it's like, this breeding season and next breeding season are going to be the ones where I think the patience is going to pay off, right? Like, I've got chances for like ultramel sunsets this year. I'll have chances for like, sunset pieds, sunset clowns, sunset clown pieds. I'll have chances for like ultramel monsoons, like like monsoon pieds. Like, I'll have all those chances next year. So right now the stuff I'm making is like, is pretty and it's nice, you know, some of it nicer than others, and some of it, you know, just good examples of those things. But the actual like heavy hitter stuff that I feel like is going to actually get more notice to like my stuff is going to be within the next like 2 years. So I feel like I'm 2 years away from being like anything like relevant, I guess, which I hate like that word because it's like, you know, it's a weird word to use. But I think, you know, 2 years from now is when a lot of that patience and a lot of that time off is going to really pay for itself.
Okay.
We definitely see you. We see you moving, and I've always liked your stuff and felt like it was top tier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see him showing off all the cool stuff that I paid money for.
Yeah.
Like you know, a lot of the cool stuff is stuff that I've like bought, and then there's a handful, like a lot of the stuff that I've held back for myself is normals. They're just double heads for sunset stuff, you know, and yeah, so it's pretty much that. The only things that I've made that I've held back that weren't like sunset relating were literally like a banana lesser fire clown that I just wanted to make because they look like blonde, like they're really pretty. Because but you know, banana and lesser make like a crazy like cream blonde like snake that doesn't get spots, they don't fade, they stay really, really nice. So I missed on that last year, so I made that this year. And that's like a really, really pretty snake. It doesn't look like too, you know, it's not like too crazy, but it's just really pretty. You know, and I think at the end of the day, like I want to make stuff that's really pretty and like would easily pass that like grandma test. Someone that doesn't know nothing about nothing, they just look at the snake and like, oh, that's like beautiful. Like that's a nice looking animal.
Like I don't like that, but that one's pretty.
What's incomplete dominant gene? Not necessarily, maybe not your favorite, but what's an incomplete dominant gene you just can't live without in your collection?
I mean, it's probably blackhead.
Blackhead. Okay.
I mean, just the look of the straight super, like, I mean, it's nice, and it's like, you know, like super hurricanes are really cool, and like hurricanes are really cool. But I think just like blackhead pieds, blackhead clowns, like even like the single dose of like blackhead in them is like very like apparent. You know, like blackhead pieds are really nice. The super blackheads are like really cool. Like the super blackhead clowns are really cool. Like those are going to be nice with like color changes. Like, I mean, I think, yeah, it's just the super blackhead look. And then when you start even just changing the colors of them, like they're just a cool snake, you know, like they keep side pattern. They, you know, strip out stuff on the back. I mean, chocolate does the same thing. And I do really, really like chocolate. Like I'm also working heavily into that. But something about like the deep, deep blacks that are in the blackhead, I feel like I like that most of the time more than I like the like rich brown kind of colors within like a super chocolate.
Makes sense.
And hurricane's just too variable for that one to be like my favorite.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like the super hurricane stuff that I have is really nice, and it's very expressive, but I feel like it can easily hide in other things, like as far as like hiding in pied, hiding in clown. Like it can be harder to see whenever you start mixing it with other pattern things. And I don't have a problem with that. Like I think like a super hurricane just by itself is really nice. You know, could you imagine like a super hurricane, you know, like DG, you know, Xanthic? Like that's going to look like a cool snake.
Absolutely.
But people are going to put more effort into producing a clown version for who knows what reason, when a super hurricane version would arguably be a prettier animal.
Makes sense. And as of late, how has morph market been for you? Been receiving good amount of inquiries? Has it been up, down?
I don't know. I feel like it comes in waves, but things have definitely like picked up more so since the auction stuff started, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't really so much like the deals area because that's just an area for people to put stuff on sale, and most of the stuff in general could probably be priced better.
Right.
You know, so it's like, the wholesale thing on there could be like done better.
Right.
as well. But like the actual like auction stuff, I think is like really like good.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put some different things up there this next month that I think are like pretty valuable, and I think they would work out well for somebody. So one of my recent ones I did for the double het tri-stripe Xanthics, that went at the auction for a fairly reasonable number, and it went to a buddy of mine that I actually got the dad from, which was pretty cool. But after that auction closed, I actually had two more people hit me up for the other pairs that I had too.
Oh wow.
So it's like that was kind of surprising,
Yeah.
and so it's like I feel like even if you're not successful on an auction, which there's a whole video that I have planned for or a YouTube or Instagram thing for better ways to do that. Just, haven't done it as usual. But, even if you're not successful on like your auction, which you should be if you implement the right tools, that you would, you're first off, you're going from having 40,000 whatever snakes, ball pythons available, that you are in a sea of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see my own ads. Like, if I'm flipping through the stuff, like, I don't see the people I know's stuff. It's not until I look at their store specifically to like see their animals,
Yeah.
and it's like, so I don't really it's like that, is kind of a benefit of putting stuff within deals and more so putting stuff within an auction, because if you put something up in an auction that at least gets eyeballs on your stuff, you're going to have more people that are like, hey, if that person has that, what else do they have out there? And then they come and look at the other stuff that you got.
Yeah.
Like I seen that double het monsoon hypo, and I put a couple in there, and I was like, I wasn't too like committed, but I was like, if I end up with them, that'd be cool.
Right.
Because it's like I think the hypo monsoon is going to look stupid. Like that's going to look just so nice.
Absolutely.
And but what that did is it got me to see that, and then I was like, hey, let me see what else he has up there. So it's like having things up in the auction will get people potentially more frequently to see your page.
Traffic, yeah.
So it's like you have, even right now, I think there's like 200 some auctions or something going. That's an opportunity for the people that are looking at auctions to find their way to your page,
right,
and see the other animals that you have available, or potentially pick up something that's very similar to the animal in the auction. If they're like, oh, this guy has an ultramel thing, what other ultramel things do they have, because that one isn't what I need, and it's just an avenue to get more eyes on your stuff, because at the end of the day, like, if you can find yourself in a narrower kind of section of things to look at, then I feel like you're putting yourself in like a better position.
And I think that's the name of the game, period, on how probably people should be structuring their breeding all together. Not being part of 30,000, 20,000. Kind of be a part of 4,000 and when it comes to
I think there's just too many things on there that probably shouldn't be on there. But it comes to a matter of like, where are you going to put those things? Like,
right.
Like I have a bunch of stuff that has no reason to be on Morph Market. Like I have several things that have no reason to be on there. We got like a pastel male on there,
Yeah.
Like there's no reason that should be on there, but it's on there because if someone in a local group is talking about an animal that they're looking for, I can just drop my Morph Market link in there and tell them that those are the prices, or that basically like subtract shipping from those, or at least, hey, here's like a list of the stuff I have. You can see the pictures, because I'm not going to send you pictures because you're like, well, what does that one look like? What does that one look like? What does that one look like?
Right.
No, here's a complete inventory of stuff. Look at all of it and let me know if there's anything in there that you like, and we can work out a local, no shipping, price.
Right.
It's just, so it's like there's a bunch of stuff that's like that on there. There's a bunch of stuff that would be ideal for people to, just have at shows or these like reptile shops, and all that stuff goes back to like everybody needing to do well at each individual like level, as far as people that are just starting out, people that have like built up a collection and they've produced a couple of things. Like my collection's vastly different because I made mistakes or whatever within like boas, as far as like what I was like breeding for or how I was doing it and like whatever. So it's like you just kind of understand like different projects to get into or different ways to like put things together. You know, likewise the thing with like the geckos, right? Like the stuff you're doing with the geckos very easily influenced your choices of stuff you should get or shouldn't get within the ball pythons.
Absolutely.
And also the quantity and like it kind of fueled your expectations. You're like, hey, I did really successful with these lizards. So it's like I can take that same success, put it into this other species, and really take all those like, you know, turbulent lessons that you made, you know, along the way, and then use that for growth on the stuff that you're producing with the ball pythons.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, gecko sales is a hustle.
Yeah.
That's the that's the whole different.
About it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll finally close everything up. What's going on, DNA?
Yeah.
So everybody can go and have some, how you say it down here, baby, some supper. Down here in the south.
Yeah, we're lunchtime here. It's
We ain't no supper time right now. It's only 5 o'clock. So.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's what time supper starts.
It
5
is.
o'clock.
You're old people.
He's adapting. Aaron always
After 5, it's dinner. We having dinner.
He's ever had dinner.
No, he like at flipping 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, sir, dinner, supper dinner need to be on the table by about at least 7:30, like 7:30.
Now
I get hangry, and that is an emotion.
And you see, you guys enjoy it because guess what? She get angry because I'm the one that's doing cooking. Ain't that messed up? She will burn water. She will.
I had about 4 pots of rice that cooked in the friggin' rice cooker, like
How
the
you mess that
last
up?
2 weeks. Like, how did that happen? I don't understand it. I don't, but whatever.
The rice cooker is supposed to be the simplest way.
Yes, and apparently I messed it up somehow. I don't know. I'm finally figuring that
Too
out.
much water, not enough water, wrong setting.
It's the water bill.
That's exactly what
I was reading the instructions on like the bag, and I really needed to. Anyway, past that. His cooking's just better. I mean, facts. He's seasoned, and I'm not. And he's like inserting that seasoning in me. So I'm learning.
So enjoy the rest of y'all day. We really appreciate you guys stopping by. Everybody that's been in the comments, swinging through, we really appreciate you guys. We got up to about 40 viewers.
I
today,
know that
which
was
is absolutely
crazy.
incredible.
That's awesome.
But
You guys
growing.
gave us the super chat.
absolutely,
That's
thank
really
you.
awesome.
We really appreciate it all. And
That's crazy cool.
like any other day, when's our next one, Darren? He's
The
like
20. It's what day is that?
it's the 25th now.
3rd.
Wait a minute, you put me on the spot.
10th.
The 10th.
The 10th.
Okay, so
The
April
10th.
will be
Yeah,
locked.
and it's next level.
Next level will be on for their episode. But for this one, definitely go check out what Brandon has available on his Morph Market. Hit him up on Instagram if you have any questions about anything. You should definitely be a follower on his page. Yeah, it's almost 9,000 now, right? Or it's getting up there. It's over 8,000. He's like, hey, whatever it is. But go give him a follow, support him.
You'll quickly figure out why he's got that many.
Yes, because
My fiance pays more attention to that stuff than mine. She's like, it went up like this, and I'm like, cool, I guess. I don't know.
But we appreciate you guys' time, and we will be signing off later.
Appreciate everyone checking it out.